Hello YouTube, Kaitlyn here, and today is Veda Day 11, and we are going to talk about music today. So Isabella Brown really wants me to talk about relating to music, and I wasn't exactly sure what she meant by that. Is it like what I think about music? Or my favorite kind of music? Or my favorite musicians? Or even how I like to enjoy music? But Will Osmond says that he'd like to see all of that, so here we go. I love music. I don't even entirely understand people who don't love music. I was raised in a family of singers, and so I have been surrounded by music my entire life. I have always been hearing my mother and grandmother singing in our church choir, and that's kind of where it started, but it has blossomed from there. And then I also am a singer, so I have been in various choirs my entire life. But as far as my favorite kinds of music to listen to, it started with country music when I was like 10 to 12. I don't think I actually really liked the country music, I just liked watching CMT for the music videos. But I also listened to general pop music of the time like Britney Spears and NSYNC, but my favorite was the Backstreet Boys. Backstreet's back, alright. Then as I got a little older, I discovered soundtracks, and my first soundtrack was the Titanic soundtrack, which I still have on CD and will still listen to because I just love it. My favorite soundtrack of all time being, of course, The Lord of the Rings. I think The Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite, but really just all three of them together, it has to come together. I got super into Christian alternative and Christian rock for a pretty short period of time, but I loved it. Then I discovered what I pretty much still kind of consider my type of music, which is alternative, indie rock, and folk. There's this radio station out of Charlottesville called WNRN, which plays pretty much all my favorite music, and really, even music I don't even like. It has a huge variety of music. It's not just like your normal pop all the time, play the same song like every hour kind of thing. And that's where I discovered a lot of my favorite bands. But in the last few years, I've discovered that I actually really like something called post-rock, which I didn't know was a thing, but I kind of started looking up some of my bands while researching for this video, and they're all considered post-rock bands. So then who are my favorite musicians? Bands like Coldplay and Snow Patrol will always stay in my heart as my absolute favorite. Anytime Coldplay puts out a new album, I have to get it because I love them all around. Their sound is different on every album, but I love them so much. Snow Patrol I can just listen to forever, and I love his voice, and I'm always like, is that him? And like looking up a song that I don't know and it's not him, but he just has a similar sound. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this band too. My favorite band right now is probably Of Monsters and Men, and they have a new CD that I think came out recently, and I haven't gotten it yet because I just haven't gotten around to like finding new music, but I really want it. I heard like one single off of it, and it's great. I love them so much. A lot of people complain that all their sounds sound very similar, and that is true, but also not true. I feel like each song tells its own musical story. So even though a lot of their songs use a similar kind of format where you have a quieter, softer, calmer verse, and then you have this big instrumental build-up that corresponds with the chorus, I still find it really interesting, and I think that all their songs are different in a way. Even though they use that same format, they vary in the kind of instruments they use and the feeling that each one invokes. That's really the biggest reason that I love Of Monsters and Men, because I feel more things when I listen to their music. As far as internet musicians, and I shouldn't even call them that because they are musicians in their own right, but I have discovered them through the internet, would be Tessa Violet and Rusty Clayton, who also have a band together called People You May Know. Yes, People You May Know. I always get it confused. Tessa Violet is one of my favorite YouTubers, and when she went into music, I thought, oh goodness, am I gonna like this? Am I gonna like her voice? Am I gonna be able to support what she's doing, since it's a little different than how I originally found her? But I absolutely do. I love her music, I love her voice, I love everything that she stands for in her musical endeavors. Go look her up. What I like about Rusty is that when I heard him start singing, I was like, oh my gosh, you sound so similar to one of my other favorite artists, Sleeping at Last. They have this very interesting and kind of crooning, higher pitched voice, both Sleeping at Last and Rusty Clayton, and I love it. That kind of sound really does invoke a lot of emotion in me. And finally, for my more recent loves, Sigur Rós and Explosions in the Sky fit into that post-rock category that I have recently discovered, and I love them. Sigur Rós is an Icelandic band, and they sing in actually a made-up language, like it's not even Icelandic language, if there is an Icelandic language, I don't even know. And Explosions in the Sky is mostly instrumental, and both Sigur Rós and Explosions in the Sky are just amazing to me because of the emotions that their music. I mean, it just makes me cry listening to some of their songs. Like I can be sitting in like a cafe and start crying because of listening to their music. So finally, how do I like to enjoy music? Most of the time, I'm listening to music really loud in my car while on long drives. I feel very enveloped in the music, kind of like I'm in this little car womb surrounded by beautiful sounds. When I do creative writing, and especially when I'm writing my novel, sometimes I will put on, say, the Lord of the Rings soundtrack and just lie on my bed for a little while and listen and kind of imagine the scenes that I'm going to be writing to the music, and that is a really great experience for me. I love those feelings, and I can get a lot more ideas for writing by just lying, not doing anything with my body, but just kind of feeling the music come into me and thinking about it and thinking how it relates to what I'm going to be writing. I hate running, and I do it very seldomly, but when I do, I listen to music while I do it. I get something that's gonna have like one of those crazy choruses like Of Monsters and Men, and so when I'm running and I'm like, I can do it because I feel incredible with this music, ah! And finally, I've actually been to very few concerts, but when I do go to them, I very much enjoy them. I talked about in yesterday's Veda how I liked listening to music in large groups of people, and that's coming from that concert experience. I think maybe because I go to concerts so infrequently that it becomes extra special when I do. So there you go, there's all my thoughts on music. Hopefully you guys maybe can find some new artists from what I've talked about if you don't know about any of these, or you can tell me about artists that you love and you think that I would love to and I should listen to. Tell me that all down in the comments, and remember to like, favorite, share, and subscribe if this video made you smile. See you guys tomorrow. I gotta go to work, yo, I'm so late.